If I told you that with just a regular electric stove, you could cook a perfectly fluffy pot of white rice, would you believe it? Hi friends, I'm Nancy. Today, I'm going to show you a few simple tips for cooking rice on an electric stove. Once you learn this, your rice will turn out soft, fluffy, and absolutely delicious every single time. Let's get started together. Let's begin with long grain rice. I like using long grain because it naturally cooks up lighter and more separate, which makes it perfect for stovetop cooking. Measure just the right amount for your family and place it into a bowl. There's no need to overcomplicate this step. A simple cup or measuring scoop works just fine. Next, rinse the rice gently with clean water. Use your hands to softly swirl the grains in the bowl. Try not to rub or squeeze the rice too firmly, because scrubbing too hard can wash away some of the natural nutrients on the surface of the grains. The goal here is simply to remove excess starch, not to polish the rice aggressively. When the water turns cloudy, carefully pour it off and repeat if needed. And instead of pouring that rice water straight down the drain, consider saving it to water your plants. Rice water contains trace minerals that plants appreciate, and it's such an easy way to reduce waste in the kitchen. Small habits like this really do make a difference over time. By the way, do you usually rinse your rice once, twice, or not at all? I'd love to know how you were taught to do it. Cooking methods often come from family traditions, and it's always interesting to see how different households handle the same simple ingredient. Now, let's build the flavor base. Start by taking 1 clove of garlic, peeling it, and mincing it finely. Fresh garlic makes a big difference here because it gives the rice a gentle, savory aroma that feels warm and comforting. Place your pot on the electric stove and add a small amount of cooking oil to the bottom. Once the oil is warm, add the minced garlic. Sauté it over medium heat, stirring gently. Be careful not to let it burn, because garlic can turn bitter very quickly. You're looking for a light golden color and a soft, fragrant smell filling your kitchen. If you like to cook often and want to save time, you can prepare minced garlic in advance and store it in the refrigerator. Keeping it in an airtight container, covered with oil, helps preserve its freshness. If you don't already have a storage method you trust, you can go back and watch my previous video, where I explain in detail how to properly store garlic so it lasts longer and stays flavorful. Once the garlic is lightly golden, add your rinsed rice directly into the pot. Stir it gently so that each grain becomes coated with the garlic-infused oil. This step may seem small, but it makes a noticeable difference. Coating the rice with oil helps keep the grains separate as they cook, and it adds a subtle layer of flavor throughout the entire pot. The result is rice that smells wonderful and cooks up light and fluffy instead of sticky. Now, let's talk about the part that truly determines whether your rice turns out perfect or disappointing: the water and the heat. For long grain rice on an electric stove, a reliable ratio is 1 part rice to 2.5 parts water. So if you used 1 cup of rice, you'll add 2.5 cups of water. This slightly higher amount helps the rice cook through gently without drying out. Add a moderate amount of salt, just enough to lightly season the water. Remember, the rice will absorb that seasoning as it cooks. Turn the heat up to high and bring the pot to a full boil. Once you see active bubbling, lower the heat to the lowest setting your stove allows. But make sure it continues to simmer. You don't want a rolling boil anymore. The correct simmer looks calm and steady, with small, gentle bubbles quietly rising to the surface. If the bubbles are large and aggressive, the heat is still too high. If there are no bubbles at all, it's too low. Cover the pot and let it cook for about 15 minutes without lifting the lid too often. About 5 minutes before the cooking time is finished. Carefully tilt the lid just enough to taste a small spoonful of the cooking liquid. This is the important trick many people skip. The water should taste slightly saltier than you want the finished rice to taste. That's because as the rice absorbs the liquid, the salt level will mellow out if the water tastes perfectly seasoned at this stage. The final rice may end up bland. Adjust with just a small pinch of salt if needed. Then continue cooking until done. After about 15 minutes, your rice should be fully cooked. When you gently lift the lid, you'll notice the grains look separate and fluffy, and there's a light, comforting aroma of garlic rising from the pot. At this point, turn off the heat, but don't rush to serve it right away. Keep the lid on and let the rice rest for about 2 minutes. This short resting time is more important than many people realize. It allows the moisture to settle evenly and helps the grains firm up slightly, so they stay fluffy instead of clumping together. After resting, use a fork to gently fluff the rice from the bottom up, lifting and separating the grains without pressing down. This rice pairs beautifully with so many dishes. You can serve it alongside grilled chicken, sautéed vegetables, braised beef, or even a simple fried egg on top. It's versatile, comforting, and always reliable. I'd love to know, what do you usually enjoy with your white rice? Share your favorite combinations in the comments. If you found these tips helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe for more simple kitchen tricks. I'll see you in the next one.